Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be very exciting because it is a very large book haul slash unboxing video. I ordered about like 10 books from Book Outlet, and I also have a bunch of books that I haven't officially hauled in a video yet. They were mentioned in previous vlogs and all that, but I wanted to just like show them in a regular haul. So I have those as well. I don't want this video to be like super long, so I'm going to try to keep descriptions and things like that to a minimum. If I don't know what it's about, I don't know what it's about, you know? So let's just jump right into the haul. The first 4 books I have to show you are from the Strand bookstore. When I went to New York City, I have a vlog of that, so I can link that in like the info card up above or in the description down below. So if you're interested in seeing that vlog, it was a lot of fun. I did show these books in that vlog as well, but I'm going to officially haul them now. So the first one I have to show you is Tomb of the Unknown Racist by Blanche McCrary Boyd. This is a adult fiction novel centered around race, politics, and family drama and the subculture of white supremacy. It's set after the Oklahoma City bombing, and it follows a woman reuniting with a niece she never knew that she had, and they travel to New Mexico, and it's all about just learning about family dynamics as well as the racial struggle that's going on in the country. The next book is Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. This is also a signed copy from the Strand bookstore. This is a young adult fantasy novel that I've heard amazing things about. Also, the cover is just gorgeous. It follows a princess who is suddenly thrust into power after her father dies. She soon believes that her father just didn't die by accident. She thinks that he was murdered, and so she kind of teams up with this criminal named Akira who helps her try to figure out what really happened and possibly see if her father was actually murdered. It seems like there's going to be some magic involved. I definitely think that this will be right up my alley. And I love princesses in power, so queens essentially. But yeah, I'm super excited to read this one. I've heard great things about it. Next we have We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Fazal. This is another young adult fantasy novel that I've heard amazing things about. It follows a young woman who is a hunter, and she goes into like a forbidden forest almost. She also disguises herself as a man and goes on a quest to find a lost artifact, and it just sounds super interesting and super fun and super right up my alley. The final book from the Strand bookstore is Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok K. Banker. This book I literally picked up because of the cover. It is just by far one of the most beautiful covers I've ever seen. It is set in a fantasy world where demigods and demons walk among mortals. It is the story of 2 princes who are in line for the throne, and it doesn't follow normal whoever's born first will become the king. It is actually the new ruler must pass like a test and some trials and all this in order to become the ruler. However, they find out that there's actually somebody else who's up for the throne, and it is a young woman whose father is a demon lord, and he wants to see her on the throne, and then war just erupts throughout the world, and it's up to kind of the princes, and I'm assuming this girl, to kind of put the pieces back together. It just sounds really great, and I'm super excited to read this. Again, the cover's beautiful, sounds right up my alley. I'm excited. Next we have a book that I got from Thrift Books, and it is Black Spring by Alison Croggon. Alison Croggon is one of my favorite authors. She wrote my favorite series of all time, the Books of Pelennor series. Highly recommend if you like young adult fantasy. This one is actually I believe it's a standalone, and it is based off of Wuthering Heights. So it's Wuthering Heights inspired, and it has a mystery, and I'm assuming a little bit of horror in it, and it just sounds really fun and great. I never read Wuthering Heights, so I don't know how much of a connection I can make between it, but I'm super excited because she's one of my favorite authors. And then we have a book that I got from Barnes & Noble, Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is a young adult sci-fi novel. I already read this one. I mentioned it in my May wrap-up. It definitely makes an appearance in one of my reading vlogs. If you're interested in watching that one, I will link it as well. But yeah, this was a great young adult sci-fi novel following a bunch of characters and a girl who's woken from a cryogenic sleep 100 years later, and she was supposed to be dead, and just things happen, mysteries happen, and it was great. I can't wait to see what the next one has in store for me, but yeah, I bought this one. And we have another book from Barnes & Noble, actually from my trip to Barnes & Noble, where I went on like a quest to find a certain book. But yeah, I ended up buying The Beast Player by Nahoko Uehashi. Oh no, I really hope I said that right. Yeah, this is another young adult fantasy novel. It is about a young woman whose family's job is to take care of the water serpents around them. Soon, some of these water serpents die and her mother is sentenced to death, and before her mother is killed, she sends her daughter away, and her daughter soon finds out that she's actually able to communicate with these water serpents, as well as flying creatures, which I'm assuming are like dragons. She's able to communicate with them. They end up being creatures that guard the queen, so her ability is really sought after, and she kind of goes on this quest or something to really like save herself and protect herself, as well as the serpents and the other creatures that she's able to communicate with. So it sounds like a really nice, cool young adult fantasy. I also love the cover. It really reminds me of anime, which is why I picked it up. So I'm excited to read this one. And then I picked up the book that I actually went to Barnes & Noble for, The Wicked King by Holly Black. This is the second book in the Fair Folk something series by Holly Black, the first one being The Cruel Prince. I went specifically to my Barnes & Noble to get this book because I realized that they had the exclusive edition still in stock. So I went there, I found it, I bought it, and yeah, it made it to this haul. And then the last book that I bought from Barnes & Noble is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. This is an adult fiction slash fantasy novel slash maybe mystery novel that follows the daughter of Dr. Jekyll. And this book, the description really reminds me of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen movie, except now this one is all the daughters and the women from these classic tales. And it just sounds so fun, and the cover is so great. I just love all the little details in it, which is why I picked it up. The second book in this series actually is what originally drew my eye, and I just had to pick up the first book. Alright guys, now on to the books and the part of the video that you have all been waiting for. My very large unboxing of these lovely Book Outlet books. Try not to stab the books. So there we are. We have my receipt right on top. I originally ordered 11 items, but one of them they were out of stock of, I believe, and so they didn't send it to me, obviously, because they didn't have it. There was only like 2 left when I put it in my cart and ordered it anyway, so obviously it went to other people. So, alright, let's get rid of these. Oh my god. I'm so excited. Alright. I'm gonna sit back down on my butt here. Here are the books. Get a little sneak peek. Alright, so I'm just gonna go right off the top. The first one I see here is Lady Killers by Tori Teffler, illustrations by Dame Darcy. So this is Deadly Women Throughout History. This is a non-fiction book that I have heard great things about, and I was super interested in this because I want to get into more non-fiction. However, I don't like non-fiction. I think it's boring sometimes, but like, this is all about women who were murderers, and like, oh my god, it just sounds so good. And there's illustrations in here like that. It just sounded super interesting. The next book I see in here is The War in the Dark by Nick Setchfield. I had never heard of this book when I saw it on Book Outlet. The cover is what drew me. It's just absolutely gorgeous. This is a adult fantasy novel. I'm kind of assuming like it's more historical fantasy. It's set in Europe in 1963 when a true Cold War happens, or so the back of this says. A British intelligence agent, that was a mouthful, needs to flee London after a botched assassination attempt. He meets up with a mysterious woman and they go on a quest for this hidden knowledge that has been an occult secret for centuries. And they end up in an area where there's demons, and it just sounds super, super fun and super right up my alley. This cover is just like, I keep looking at this cover, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I am excited to read this. I literally had never heard anything about it, but I'm excited. The next book I have here is The Comet Seekers by Helen Sedgwick. This is another novel I've never heard anything about. It follows two people who meet on a remote research base in Antarctica. They are somehow connected by an unknown tragedy, and they realize that there's more that connects them than just this tragedy. They are connected back through centuries. It definitely has something to do with comets, and I believe this story is going to kind of switch between the present as well as the past and how they've been connected throughout history. It sounds super interesting, and I'm excited to get to this one. The next two books I have to show you are by the same author, so I'll show them together. We have Furthermore by Tahereh Mafi and Witchwood by Tahereh Mafi. These two books are part of a middle grade series that Tahereh Mafi has written. This one's technically the first one, but I don't think you have to read the first one beforehand. But I was super interested in them. I love the covers, and they both sound really good and really interesting. This one, the first one, is just an adventurous tale about imagination and color as currency and friendship and all those kinds of things that you find in a middle grade novel. So that one sounded really interesting. And then Witchwood is about a girl whose job it is to scrub the bodies of the dead and prepare them for the afterlife, which sounds really dark for a middle grade novel, but there must be some other adventure going on in it, and it must be more like a little bit more lighthearted than that. I'm just super excited to read both of these novels. They're absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to see what the hype is all about for these two. And then finally, the last thing in this big box of books is actually a box set. This is the main reason why I made an order from BookOutlet, is because I saw this box set on there. It is the Keeper of the Lost Cities box set 1 through 5 paperback. However, I did want hardcover, but I can deal with the paperback. There's supposed to be quite a lot of books in this series, and I think maybe the 8th one has come out or is coming out, so I don't think I'll be able to catch up before that one comes out, so I don't have to worry about not having the paperback. But yeah, I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna look at the covers because I've heard amazing things about this. I know Reagan from Peruse Project really loves this series. She's actually the person that got me interested in it to begin with. So here we have the box set. The box set itself is kind of flimsy, so I might not even keep the box set. I'll just like take the books out of it. But let's take a look here. So the first one is Keeper of the Lost Cities. These are all by Shannon Messenger, by the way. This is the first one. This series is a middle grade series as well, and it's supposed to be super adventurous and super fun. I believe the main character has some sort of telepathic ability, and I guess she's just kind of like thrust into this new world, as many middle grade novels and young adult novels kind of go. But yeah, I've heard amazing things about this series, so I was super interested in it. So this one's the first one. The second one is Keeper of the Lost Cities Exile. The third one is Keeper of the Lost Cities Everblaze. The fourth one is Keeper of the Lost Cities Never Seen. And the last one I have here, book 5, is Keeper of the Lost Cities Lodestar. They progressively got bigger as we went through this. But yeah, like this whole series just sounds super interesting, and when I saw this box set of the first 5 books for only $20 on BookOutlet, I had to buy it. Yeah, on the back it looks like there's so far 7 books, but I think the 8th one comes out at the end of this year. Those were all of the books that I bought. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing / book haul. I don't want to try to hold these. so I'm not going to. There's just so many. How many did I buy? Let's see. In total, there's 19 books, including the box set, all individual books. But yeah, there's 19. If they had just given me that one other book that I ordered, it would have been an even 20. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know down below if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. I would love to know. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun YouTube stuff, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!